These women are gathering here because they share a deep concern. All individuals, all ages, all different backgrounds, different ways of life. A grandmother. A teacher. A housewife. What could bring these women together?
It is important to realize that all women are vulnerable to uterine cancer. This may affect women of every age and occupation. It is for this reason that even though there are no symptoms of abnormal bleeding and discharge, that even though everything appears normal to you, you should see your physician at regular intervals. A Pap test will ordinarily show no cancer is present, and that knowledge will give you peace of mind. If cancer is present, the Pap test will usually detect it while it is still curable. There's no doubt about it. If every woman had a Pap test as part of her yearly health checkup, we could markedly decrease death from uterine cancer. I want to thank you all for attending this lecture.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I'm sure he's given us a great deal to think about. I hope you'll all join us now in the cafeteria for coffee and cake.
So much energy and emotion is wasted, living with fear of the unknown, with questions which can be answered.
Doctor, now with a Pap test, how long before symptoms appear can you tell if there are cancerous conditions?
Oh, it's possible by means of the Pap test to detect a early cancer much before symptoms appear, sometimes as much as years. They've reported this in cases early as 2-3 years before there are any symptoms. You can go ahead, have an examination, a Pap smear taken, and an early cancer found.
Oh, there'd be actually a cancer found? I mean, or just
without
conditions?
Symptoms.
Oh, without symptoms.
Without symptoms.
I see. Oh.
And this is one of the values of going ahead when you don't have symptoms and having the Pap smear and the examination by the doctor. The longer the cancer persists undetected, the greater the difficulty in the treatment. In other words, if you can detect it early, you can treat it early, the operation or the treatment that we have to institute is usually simple. As the disease has been undetected, it spreads more, and that doesn't mean that there won't be cures.
Doctor, is there any sort of a place, hospitals or even City Hall, where you can go to get a test very quickly the way you do for the tuberculosis test when you have to get a job or something?
Well, I don't know about City Hall. I think you go down there for marriage licenses. But, well, sure, there are the gynecology clinics in various hospitals, private doctors, both specialists in gynecology and general practitioners are all qualified to do Pap smears.
You don't have to go to the hospital?
Oh, no, this is done in the doctor's office. Or it may be done in the hospital, in the clinic, the outpatient department, but the doctor in his office can do the smear very easily.
What is a smear? What do they talk about a smear?
First, let me point out that when we say Pap smear and Pap test, we're talking about the same thing. The Papa Nicolau or Pap smear is the way doctors speak of it, but the Pap test is used more in everyday conversation. But you were asking for an explanation of what the Pap test actually consists of. Now you know what a pelvic examination is. You know the doctor uses an instrument to allow him to see inside the vagina. Well, while this instrument is in place, he can take a sample of cells which come from the cervix, which is the neck of the uterus.
Does the test hurt?
No, the test doesn't hurt at all. You can hardly feel it. You may not even know it's happening. Getting back to the cells. These cells are smeared on a slide, and that's where the term pap smear comes in. And they can be examined under a microscope. This is when we can tell whether the cells are normal or not. And this is where the term test comes in. If abnormal cells are found in the pap smear, then further investigation is necessary, and the doctor would notify you, and you go back to his office.
How long does it take?
The
The testing and the...
Well, the doctor will go ahead and take a history. Yeah, he'll do a routine examination, very often check your breasts at the same time, blood pressure, and do a pelvic examination. And then while he's doing the pelvic exam, he does a pap smear.
How often should a middle-aged person go for an examination?
Minimally, I would say once a year.
This is really surprising. I had never thought about it, really. I always thought I was too young to bother with it, but apparently that's not so.
No, because as I said, we can detect what we call a very early cancer or a carcinoma in situ. And this can be easily treated and usually easily cured.
And you think that one should make a practice of going once a year?
That's correct. They should go for the possibility of an early detection, and they should go for correction of any anxiety that they may have. In other words, if they go to their doctor and they find that there's no difficulties, this will certainly give them peace of mind, and they don't have to worry. So really, there's two reasons. One, for the early detection with the knowledge that they'll be cured, and with the possibility also that everything is negative and that they can have peace of mind. If there are abnormal symptoms, and what I mean by abnormal symptoms such as irregular bleeding, bleeding between the period, bleeding after having relations, abnormal discharge, pain, then I would consult the doctor at that time.
And if you're thinking about your family, even if a woman doesn't think that much, that she hasn't got the time or thinks about herself too much, she certainly should consider a family.
Well, I would say that if she's worried about this, she's not being fair to her own family. She's probably a little annoyed at them and picks up little things, you know, and sort of puts what she's feeling within herself, worrying about the fact that she may have cancer, on the fact that her child didn't pick up his toys, or the husband put down his pipe in the wrong place, or something of that type. So that I think if she does go and have this and it's normal, I think she'll feel better, and have a better relationship with her family.
I think this is so very important that each one of us should talk to our friends, and in turn they talk to their friends. I think this is something that's very worthwhile and very important.
I'm sure there are a lot of my friends who've never thought about it before.
Well, because you're not married.
Yeah, I guess single people really don't give it too much thought. You don't have the opportunity.
That's right.
How many children do you have?
I have one.
There's one child?
There's one child and a dog and my husband.
Oh.
Do you feel eventually, doctor, that uterine cancer will be completely eradicated? That is, if everyone will go for this examination as you tell us to, in years to come, do you have that feeling?
I would say that if we could get every woman, regardless of whether she's married or single, to go once a year for a pelvic examination and a pap smear, that there's a good possibility that we could almost totally eradicate cancer of the cervix.
Sounds wonderful.
Why don't I go? I keep telling myself I don't have the time. That's ridiculous. I find time for everything else. I can't forget how Mother died. I'm afraid. I don't want to know about myself. Supposing Mother had had the pap test. Supposing she had found out early enough, she wouldn't have had to suffer that way. She might be alive today, enjoying her grandchildren. I have daughters, too. I don't really have the right. One visit to the doctor, and I'd know, one way or the other. I must do it. As soon as I get home, I'll make an appointment for tomorrow.
Sounds like a very good meeting. I'm certainly glad you came in for the pap test. Let me show you how it's done. I think this model will help. This is the vagina. This is the cervix or neck of the womb. This is the uterus or the womb. With an instrument in place, you can see the vagina and cervix very clearly. All we do is simply take a little fluid from here, put that on a slide, take a few cells from here, put that on a slide, and that's the pap test. We send it to a lab, and that's all there is to it.
Thank you very much, nurse.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Crowley,
Doctor, what about the results?
I don't anticipate that you'll have any difficulty. We just have to wait for the results of the pap test. That'll take just a few days.
It really is simple.
There's nothing to it, really. It's a very simple thing. It just takes a few minutes, and it's unfortunate that most people are not aware of the fact that it is so easy.
And it is painless, too.
It is. There's nothing to it.
About the results, Doctor, should I call you?
No, there's nothing to worry about. I'll call you as soon as the results are back.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
The laboratory report? Negative. All cells normal. A year without fear and worry. And the likelihood of many more years after that. Years to enjoy life to its fullest extent. To be useful. To love and be loved. To live. We have the knowledge and the techniques and the means. The rest is really up to you.